What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oregon Fishing Adventures. Today we are out here on the river for some late season winter steelhead, and you guys have been requesting that I do kind of a gear check and go over my riggings and how I set everything up. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to make a video just about that. So I got my backpack here. I brought all of my rods with me. All 5 of my rods are with me today. So we're going to go over every single setup, how I have things rigged, and yeah, just to let you guys know, like, do a little tutorial of how I set everything up. But not really anything new here. I've definitely learned from some other people and just sharing the knowledge, passing it on to you guys. So all right, let's dive in. All right, guys, so first things first, we're going to talk about my fly rod here. So I have a TFO NXT Black Label. This is an 8-weight. It's a 9-foot 8-weight. Originally I had bought this rod as a kit and it came with the TFO reel. I was not a fan of the TFO reel, so I upgraded to this Orvis Access Mid Arbor. Works great, holds all the line I need. I'm running a Scientific Anglers a Nadro indicator line on here, and I have it in a 7-weight because it's a 1.5 heavy, so it's actually like an 8.5 weight on this rod. I set it up that way because when I'm running my polyleaders on here and I have that extra weight, I didn't want to have a too heavy overweighted, so I'm about a half weight over, and then, you know, it still works out great for my indicator setups, which is what I have on here. So I'm running a tandem rig, but I'm doing it a little different than most people do. Usually people would put the egg above the streamer, like up here on the line. However, I have it set up just like this, kind of like a jig dropper, which I've used for my conventional gear. So I basically set it up. I got a little nightmare pattern, kind of tungsten jig, really heavy weighted to get down. Followed it up by a nice little egg pattern there, and I'm using Oros indicators. I currently am using a Rio leader, but I'm honestly not a fan of Rio leaders. I'm probably going to build my own for this next season. This is all still new to me. Obviously, I do other kinds of fly fishing, but the steelhead fishing is a whole different ball game. So that's the fly rod setup, though. I like it, that's for sure. All right, so the next one here, this is actually the newest rod that I got, and this is a Fenwick HMX, and this is going to be a 9-foot. It's a 4 to 10 pound medium light, and it says it's a moderate action, but it definitely feels like a more of a moderate fast. Like, just for example, put a crank on that just so it puts a bend in there. You kind of see, let's get a little more bend in there. You see how that tip's bending there? So a normal moderate action, I would feel like bends more down to the midsection. This is mostly bending in the tip. So I feel like this is a little bit more on the moderate fast side rather than moderate, but that's exactly what I was hoping for. So I have this guy paired up with a Cast King Valiant Eagle. It's actually a 1000 series. But for the size of braid that I'm running on here, it actually works out perfect to hold the line that I need it to hold. And it has a quick pickup ratio, 6.2 to 1 gear ratio. So yeah, that's working out for me so far. It's still a new setup, so I have hooked 1 fish on it already though, and it did pretty great. So how we're running this setup here, this is a setup for drift fishing. And on my drift fishing setup, I have a swivel, a snap swivel setup here, and it's just free sliding. I usually have a little bead right here, but I guess when I was re-rigging this quickly yesterday, I forgot to add a bead on here. That's just usually to protect this knot from this sliding down and hitting it. Then there's a regular swivel right below it, and then that goes to my leader. My leader is a 10-pound leader down to my 10mm soft bead, and I have a size 4 hook Addicted Advantage bead hook paired up with that there. And that's pretty much it for that setup. So it's just 30-pound braid, but it's Power Pro Max Squatcho 30 pounds, so it's more like a 20-pound braid. 12-pound leader coming off of that, Maxima Ultra Green, and then 10-pound, or I guess 12-pound bumper and 10-pound leader. So that's how the drift rod is set up. All right, and then into my other new rod. So this is going to be a Fenwick HMX as well. However, this one is going to be an 8 to 15-pound rod, and it's an 8 to 6 medium moderate. Again, this is also the same kind of deal. It's more on the moderate fast action. If you look at that tip bend, it's not really what I would consider it a moderate action, but I'm perfectly okay with that. I personally like a moderate fast action, and I definitely feel like this rod has the action I'm looking for in it. I did hook a fish on this rod. It was the same day that I wasn't recording when I got the one drift fishing, but this one's got a Akuma Pixar 30 on here, and I'm testing a new braid actually on here. So I have the Suffix 13-1 on here. It has a single strand of Gore-Tex through the middle and 12 strands wrapping around the Gore-Tex strand. So far it seems pretty nice. I haven't had a ton of time on the water running R&B spinners. I really like R&BLureco. Definitely stand behind Rob and his company, but this is definitely just my spinner rod, 30-pound, and we got a 15-pound bumper off of the braid down to the spinner of Ultra Green Maxima. So yeah, that's the spinning rod. All right, next we're gonna get into my float rods here, and this one is gonna be my Akuma SST 10'6", 8 to 17 pound. And this one we have a Akuma Pixar XT40 on here. This one I have spooled up. This is my Suffix 832 that I have on here in lime green and 40-pound test. So we got 40-pound braid on here, and on this setup we have a bobber dogging rig. And how I start this, I start up here. We got two little nylon stops. I always put two of them on in case one breaks off. Then we do a little glow-in-the-dark bead, a glow-in-the-dark corky. I got my bobber dogging set up. I got a bead underneath, and I have another bobber stop below, above the knot. Usually I will pull this guy up just a little bit like that so it's not sitting on it. I got P-line Dragon Ball on here in a 1/3 ounce right now with the 3-way swivel, and this is also set up with a 15-pound bumper, I believe, coming off of the braid, Maxima Ultra Green bumper as well, and then that is down to a 12-pound leader on this one. I got a little split shot in the middle of that leader system, coming down to a 12 millimeter hyperberry bead, and this guy I believe is running either a size 4 or a size 3 Addicted Advantage bead hook on there. So that is the 10'6" SST setup. All right, and the last rod I got here is another Akuma SST. This is also an 8 to 17 pound, but it's a 9'6", so a little bit shorter. This one, same thing, Akuma Pixar XT40 reel. I do have a different line on here though. This is the Power Pro Super Slick V2 in a 40-pound on this setup. And this is my jig rod. As you can see here, I have a jig pattern on, and the jig pattern always changes, but I have a 10-pound leader that is running from the jig to my inline float, or my inline weight here. I have, once again, the 2 nylon stops above, the glow bead, the glow corky, 3/8 ounce float. I got my bead below, and I have my other stop as well. So the reason I do the stops on my float setups below is it just helps. It's kind of a little bit of a safety thing to prevent losing your whole setup if you break off. I've definitely saved a lot of floats having that on there. So yeah, this is my 9.6 pretty much always is going to have a jig or a worm on this rod all the time. And it's same basic deal here. We got the 40-pound braid, 15-pound bumper, and then 10-pound leader there. So that's that setup. All right guys, so this is my bag here. It's a Cast King bag, and I believe it's called a Day Tripper. Unfortunately, they don't have this bag available anymore. I got it last year, and I didn't know that they were going to discontinue it, or I probably would have bought a second one. But it has plenty of storage. I really like that. This is kind of how I set it up when I'm carrying it on my back. So I have my net, my Beckman net on here. I also have my bonker. My Beckman net goes through a rod holder down here, and then it's held on by this, as well as the bat is around this strap. So both things are held in pretty damn good there on the side. So let's dive into the side pockets first. So got some Twizzlers in here because you know you need some snacks on the water. Got 10 and 12-pound fluorocarbon Seaguar SST. And then I have some 12 and 15-pound Maxima Ultra Green leader in here as well. That's all I have in there is just my leader material and a snack for the river, you know. Gotta have a little bit of something for a backup. On the other side, over here, I just have a pocket of floats. So I put different floats in here and change it depending on what I need, but I basically just put different floats in here. Right now I mostly have 1/2 ounce, 3/8 ounce, and a couple bobber doggers in there. Going into this pocket, we got worms. This is pretty much my worm pocket, and this one is open because I forgot to close it, but that's some chrome candy. So we got a bunch of different worms in here, a bunch of different stuff from Addicted. I got some Mad River worms. I'm not going to go through all the colors of everything I got. I have a lot more worms at home. I got some of the, well, a few, I guess. I got some of the Dillon Rush Outfitters limited edition worms here. Peaches and Cream. That guy. Checkmate. That one. I got a bunch of the limited edition Dro worms. Tried to get them out of every batch. I really like them, so that's what I got in there. Perfect little pocket to stash all the worms in. All right, we're gonna cut and come right back. One sec, guys. All right, so we got my fly boxes here inside, and this one is basically just nymphs and eggs. I got some small style streamers in there as well, but all eggs on that side and some small streamers and nymphs on that. This is all different streamers here that I got, and then I have another box at home with bigger streamers in it. So I'm not going to dive too much into that, but just give a quick overview that, you know, those are the basics of what I carry. Usually I always have 3 leader boards spooled up, ready to go. And this is going to be all size 2, size 3, and size 4 hooks for my bead fishing. I have a little pack here. This has my Godsent fishing beads in it, as well as the scent. Speaking of scent, my bag is insanely destroyed right now. So these are some 10% customs beads that I always carry with me. It's just a small little selection of stuff, but there's a few colors from him that I always like to have on me. Gonna try to organize this real quick here. So this year I've been using a lot of Atlas Mike scents. So this whole bag here is all Atlas Mike stuff that I picked up for
steelhead season. I got salmon egg, sand shrimp, shrimp and krill, garlic, anise and sand shrimp, anise and krill. I kind of got the whole gambit of scents in here from Atlas Mike's. And I just wanted to give them a shot because there's not as many people using them on the river. You definitely, ProCure is dominant on the river, and I don't know, I kind of like being different. So I got some Addicted Winter Chrome Blend in the regular gel form and in the water soluble. The gel has definitely caught me some fish. The water soluble is new to me, so haven't caught a fish on it yet, but if it's the same thing as this, I don't see why it wouldn't work. So we got a Addicted fixed float in here, and we got some pink yarn as well as some Potski fire gel scent. So yeah, loaded up on the scents. I personally like fishing them. I know some people don't. It's all a matter of personal preference, but when I can fish it, I like to switch it up. Sometimes I feel like it can make a difference. And then I also have a little thing of corkies, all my glow-in-the-dark corkies, as well as a big old fat box of lured beads. So I'm not gonna dive into that too much. I have a bunch of colors in here, but I got a lured bead box. Gonna be trying out a lot of his stuff. There's a bunch of colors that he makes that I really like, and so I picked up this box from him, and definitely gonna give his stuff a shot and see what I think of time. He's the only person, guys, if you don't know about lured beads, he's one of the only people that makes the hybrid bead. So what I mean by hybrid bead is they have a hard bead inside of a soft shell. A lot of people don't do that kind of thing. It's either hard bead or a soft bead, but he has this hybrid. That's kind of the lured beads thing, is these hybrid series of beads, and I think they're pretty freaking sweet. So definitely going to give them a shot, and hopefully going to find some fish on it. And I got some blue ones in here that he said will work really well for summers, so we'll give that a shot, and we'll definitely be out there chasing some summers this year. So all right, let's cut back and I'll dive back into the bottom side of this. So give me just a sec, guys. All right, so diving in the side pocket here, I can fit 4 boxes in here. These are 3600 size boxes. First thing out, we got my elevated tackle bead box. These were one of the first beads that I actually started getting when I started steelhead fishing, and kind of just over time built a whole box of their stuff. But yeah, I really like their beads. They make pretty good stuff. They got some good colors as well. Let's pop this open real quick and get a better look there. But yeah, pretty good stuff there from Elevated Tackle. Like I said, they were one of the first beads that I started getting. Now I obviously have quite a few beads, but keep that bead box in there. This is going to just be my terminal tackle box. So I got my 3-way swivels, I got my beads, I got sequins in here, bobber stops, all my weights along the back row here. I got bead pegs, jig hooks for fishing worms, my bead hooks. I have Gamakatsu octopus hooks, and I have Addicted Advantage bead hooks in there. So that's my terminal tackle box. And then next up is my jigs. Carry a nice variety of jigs. So the whole top row is going to be different Addicted jigs, kind of matched up in here a little bit, but yeah, I like to keep a good variety of different stuff. So I got all kinds of colors there, and of course I got all the Hawken Nightmare jig colors, and I got the Woolly Bugger jigs from Hawkins in a bunch of different colors. The pink and whites I always like. I got some bobber down jigs as well down here that have the little worm thing on them. Got a worm in here as well, and some more of those bobber down jigs. These are some jigs that I got from 10% Customs. So yeah, a nice little variety of different things there in the jig box. Mostly 1/8 ounce and 1/4 ounce jigs in there. And then lastly, I got my spinner box. My spinner box is mostly R&B. I carry a couple blue foxes. There's 3 blue foxes in this entire box. But all of these are R&BLureco. All these, pretty much all these. I have a small selection right here of some Steelhead slammers as well, which I've switched the hooks out on to the Mustad Siwash 1/0 hooks. Just not a real fan of the hooks that the Steelhead slammers come with, so swapped them out. And yeah, I like to carry a nice variety here. I got blacks, I got purples, greens, blues, reds, pinks. This is my custom color. But yeah, I like to carry a nice variety of spinners on me. It's definitely one of my favorite things to do is throw spinners, so got a good selection of them. And that's pretty much it for the bag, guys. I don't think I have anything else to show you in here, but yeah, not that you need this much gear. This gear is definitely not necessary to go steelhead fishing, but as you become addicted to something like this, like I am, you just want to have more and more stuff. And that's pretty much what's happened to me over the last couple years. Is I've just, you know, I've got 5 rods now. Actually, I have a 6th rod at home if you count the other SST that I have, but it's not set up with anything. So these are my main 5. Got my Beckman net, got my cast king bag and everything in it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my setup. All right, guys, so that's gonna end it out for us on this one. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. We went over all my setups with my different rods, and you guys were able to hopefully see how I had everything rigged up there, and hopefully that helps out a little bit. I know some of you guys have been asking and wanting to know how I have everything set up. If you have any further questions, if you want to see more in-depth rigging, please let me know down in the comments below what you'd like to see, or if you'd just like to see a little bit more of this kind of content of breaking down the gear that I'm using, what's in my bag, and what I carry to the river. So hopefully that was helpful for some of you guys out there. And we're gonna get out, we're gonna keep fishing for the rest of the day. Hopefully we can find something before dark, and yeah, if we do, we're gonna have another video for you guys coming after this one. So all right, guys, we'll see you next time on another Oregon fishing adventure. Peace. Finally hooked up with a fish, guys. It's the end of the day. I don't even know if this is gonna come through. Oh, and off. Damn, it was on a spinner at the end of the day. Oh my god, can't believe it.